Let's talk about a pattern that some people use in order to escape, or so they think, escape negative consequences. It's called the pattern of oops, I'm sorry. The pattern of the oops, I'm sorry game is to make the other person involved in the situation, scenario, and or circumstance feel as if, oh, this person should not receive negative consequences because what they did was on accident. They didn't mean to do it. And so, for the person who has not practiced, A, the art of being told no, and B, the art of discipline, then chances are this person is going to follow a pattern of the oops, I'm sorry game to try to always escape consequences for their actions. So, how does this game work? Two people, for example, are in a relationship and they are in a full-on two people living together in a household relationship. The one person who likes to play the oops, I'm sorry game, quote unquote, accidentally engages in sexual relations with someone else and then waits a whole year to tell their partner that they did this. They also chose to engage in a life-changing event, also known as marriage, prior to telling this person, their partner, that they cheated on them. Now, the oops, I'm sorry game goes a little like this. I didn't mean to do it. I didn't know what I was doing. Oops, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I know I'm telling you a year later, but it was on accident and I'm sorry. The game is also played like this as well. The person who loves to play the oops, I'm sorry game will also make up excuses for why they hide certain pieces and parts of their personal information in order to make themselves look good and in order to keep from, quote unquote, getting in trouble. So what they will do is they will hide information until the very last minute, until the very last second, until what we call the 25th hour, when they have no choice but to expose themselves to their own truth. Then what they will do is say, oops, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to not tell you this, or to not tell you that, or to wait for 1 or 2 or 3 months, or 1 or 2 or 3 years to tell you this and to tell you that. Oops, I'm sorry. Okay? These are just a couple of examples of how the oops, I'm sorry game is played for those people who are not used to A, being told no, and B, having to face the consequences of their actions negatively. They always look for a positive outcome, no matter what. And so what these people will do accidentally, quote unquote, is they will lie accidentally in order to escape trouble. They will cheat accidentally in order to escape being denied what they really want. They will accidentally be irresponsible both in the physical, the mental, the psychological, and the financial. And then blame it on, oops, I'm sorry. I was on my healing journey and I didn't mean to do this and I didn't mean to do that. The people who like to play the oops, I'm sorry game will also use their traumas as an excuse to say, oops, I'm sorry. Oops, I'm sorry. This happened as a result of this because when I was a kid, I went through this or I went through that. When I was a young teenager, I went through this or I went through that. When I was a young adult, I went through this and I went through that. And so, oops, I'm sorry for taking you through this with me because this is a result of that. These are the people who like to play the oops, I'm sorry game. And the whole point to the oops, I'm sorry game is to escape accountability. That's it. Because if I can always blame it on a mistake or blame it on an accident or blame it on the devil or blame it on someone else who hurt me and harmed me or blame it on everything outside of myself, then what I choose to do is never take accountability truly for it. So it becomes easy for the person that likes to play the oops, I'm sorry game to say I'm sorry a lot. They don't mind saying oops, I'm sorry. There's a misnomer that narcissistic tendencies most of the time won't say I'm sorry. And a whole lot of times the examples are very true to that fact. However, there is a type of narcissist that will say I'm sorry a lot. And those are the ones who like to play the oops, I'm sorry game to escape accountability. So what does this mean for these people? Well, it's quite simple. The only way to know if these people truly are who you think they are, if they are narcissists too, what you have to do, well, there's several things you can do. But one of the things I can suggest is start playing the game called No with them. No. Can I? No. Well, are you going to let me do? No. Well, don't you want to? No. No. Because the only way to break these patterns of yeses in their lives is to tell them no a lot. Why is this? Why is this so? Well, it's quite simple. Because they're not used to being told no. Because these are also the same people that as they're told no, they're going to finagle a way into getting their yes. Some kind of way. Whether they have to use guilt baiting, whether they have to use shame, whether they have to use, I used and I said and I did, try to use other examples of similar said events. Whatever the way they try to finagle that no into a yes, they will do it. They will do it. Whatever way they can turn that no into a yes, they will. And the final thing that they will use to try to turn that no into a yes is anger. They will get very angry. So the only way to break, the only way to escape, the only way to deal properly with the narcissist who loves to play the oops, I'm sorry game is to tell them, I understand it was an accident, but the answer is still no.